Every generation, there comes a moment where we have to decide if we're going to continue to repeat the same cycles over and over again, or if we're going to start asking the deeper questions on why those cycles exist in the first place. Welcome to Pain to Power Podcast, where we're going to explore healing, truth, knowledge, and the journey from surviving to truly understanding the power that we have. Let's go.
Pain to power, the great deconstruction. Pain to power, the great deconstruction. Pain to power, the great deconstruction. Pain to power, the great deconstruction.
Welcome to the first episode of Pain to Power Podcast. My name is Angie Pryor. I will be your host going forward for this podcast. And listen, I didn't think this day was ever going to come. Listen, it's been a long time coming. I've been putting together this platform now in isolation for the last 3 years. And I am so happy that we are here right now. And I encourage you to engage, because I promise you, you are going to get many things out of this entire platform. And I'm going to go into the different legs of the platform. And I hope that you guys continue to engage. So listen, let me tell you a little bit about myself so that you kind of know who you're listening to. Again, my name is Angie Pryor. I'm 48 years old, so I've lived a little bit. I had 2 parents that were baby boomers. I grew up in a military family. My dad served the Air Force for over 20 years. My mom started off as an educator, and then she retired as a restaurant manager. And listen, when you're a baby boomer in the Black community, raising your kids was all about like soldiers. My parents did not play. They were all about discipline. They were all about, carrying yourself a certain way. My mom was big on education. So, she handpicked schools that we went to, depending on their rankings and where they were located and, what kind of curriculum they had. Like my mom in her younger days, was definitely a Angela Davis. She was a sister soldier. My dad was an old country boy, just laid back, from the country, loved to fish, loved to hunt. And all of those different qualities between my parents, they instilled in me and my siblings. I have an older sister and I have a younger brother who is also a veteran. And then my sister is in the mental health field. And so that's our little nucleus of our family. That's the household that I grew up in. Growing up, I was a very angry teenager. I grew up in an environment where, I was strong enough to be authentic and be my authentic self. And being a gay woman, back in the 90s, it wasn't popular, so it was a lot of people that tried me in school. And I think that's the beginning of where my mindset started changing. I mean, as we all know, our brains as a kid is not fully developed, until well into adulthood, right around 25, 26 years old. And listen, I went through a lot of bullying in high school because I was gay. And, I was a fighter. I wasn't the kid that was being bullied, that wasn't going to fight back. I fought back verbally, physically, in both high schools, so that's kind of what was going on with me when I was younger. I played basketball. I was a point guard and I was awesome on the basketball court. But I blew my knee out and ended up at a junior college I didn't want to be at, didn't take it serious for the actual education that I can get. And then I left. I went into the military briefly, got kicked out of there because I was angry, and fighting and all that great stuff. I was a true knucklehead. But I realized, just from my raising, I'm going to have to figure out some type of career for myself. And what I did was I went into sales and I was really good at it. And the next thing you know, I was managing call centers and outbound sales. And then, I did that for several years. And then I went into the car business as a manager, and I was excellent at that as well. And I did that for over 12 years. And so that's kind of my background of my experience. I've been in leadership for years in corporate and in the car business. And I always wanted to reach out to the young adults that were kind of like me at that age, very angry, and, just trying to look for some type of guidance. I've always had this knack for making people feel special, making people feel like they are somebody, because, I was somebody that knew exactly how it felt not to be wanted or not to be accepted because of who I was as a person. And so, I've always been that person that would take up for the people that are being bullied. I was always that person that would speak out for something that's not right. I would always speak up for groups of people, for individuals. That's just who I am as a person. And so to come up with this platform is right up my alley. And everybody that knows me is that it goes beyond being pro-Black with me. It goes beyond that. Because a lot of times, especially with social media right now, the whole pro-Black thing has become like a trending thing. And I'm not a trending person. I don't, I don't go with trends. I don't say stuff because it's trending. I say stuff because it's meaningful. I say stuff because I want people to get something out of it that's going to help change their mindset. Like, I truly believe that changing our mindset will start changing the decisions that we make. And when we change those decisions, we start changing the course of history. I truly, truly believe that. And, with that in mind, it came to a point of my life about 3 years ago that it was a series of events that told me, okay, it's time to change my life completely. And, when you're in your 40s and you've had so much lived experience, to come to a decision that it's time to change everything about your life, that could be scary. But that's where I was. I was at the peak of my substance abuse with alcohol. I was spinning out of control, manic with bipolar disorder. That I was unaware that I had. And so this was a true moment in time after these events happened, including losing my mom. And my dad, I lost him in 2014. But everything was at a boiling point for me to make a change. And, I made the decision that I needed to not only go on a healing journey, but I made a decision to go on a spiritual journey. And I went into isolation. I got the professional assistance that I need for my mental health. I got the professional assistance that I needed for my substance abuse disorder with alcohol. And, it started from there. And the reason why I started coming up with this idea for Pain to Power is because, when I first started my journey, it really wasn't a lot of places where I can really, really tap into that was specifically for people like me. There was a lot of places I can go for one thing, but, it was kind of whitewashed and it wasn't really dealing with the cultural effects. Because regardless of what people say, depending on your cultural background, certain traumas are different. Or certain trauma, we're going to respond to different traumas differently than another culture. And that's just facts. That's reality. And I wanted something that was tailored specifically for me. And honestly, I couldn't find everything that I wanted in one place. And, that's where I kind of started piecing together the idea for this entire platform of Pain to Power. And, in isolation for 3 years, and you're healing, and you're, becoming self-aware. Those were hard questions that I had to ask to myself. And, I did the shadow work. I did the work to get to where we are today, where I'm launching this platform, launching this podcast. And listen, when you get to the point to where you can be completely honest with yourself, You've taken off all your masks. You are being your authentic self every single day. You are a rare individual. Because with social media booming right now, there are so many people that feel as though they have to wear these masks. And what I'm telling you is that I'm hoping that Pain to Power gives you the knowledge and the confidence to know that you don't have to wear a mask. You already have your melanin. And the melanin is the mask, right? A mask that is something that is natural, your true self. So this is a platform that you can just come as you are. You don't have to code switch. You don't have to put on a mask, and you don't have to wear your armor. You know, for so long, I wore this armor trying to protect myself because society puts us in fight or flight, and then social media crashes our attention span. So listen, short attention spans crash nervous systems. It creates chaos. And when you're in the middle of chaos, you're not making the right decisions. You're not healing. You're not doing the things that you need to be doing to stay balanced. And, you know, that was the point that I was at. And that's why I started putting together Pain to Power. The meaning behind Pain to Power is a simple concept. Pain always starts where you're learning lessons. The pain always begins with lessons. If you're going through something that you feel like you just can't go on anymore, there's a lesson in it. There's a lesson in it. And when I changed my mindset and how I looked at difficult situations in my life, that helped me get through it, trying to find out what the lesson is. So the concept of and the meaning behind Pain to Power is taking that pain and transforming it into something that is powerful, transforming it into actions within your individual life that's meaningful, that has purpose, finding your purpose within the pain and moving in that purpose. Having full control over your mindset, your actions, and what you say, right? In purpose. And that's the concept. Pain to Power is not created to tell you how to think. I'm not here to tell you who you are. I'm not here to tell you what to believe in. I'm here to provide knowledge. I'm here to provide tools that you can use to find those answers yourself, for yourself. And that's, you know, a different environment than social media, where it's, you know, all about proving someone wrong and one-liners and, you know, these trending topics, and nobody is healing. Nobody. And I'm not saying that every platform is like that on social media. I'm just saying that the algorithm pays for chaos. The algorithm pays for negativity. And most importantly, the algorithm pays to exploit Black trauma. It pays to exploit Black people. Most importantly. And we have to be aware of that and, you know, not fall into those traps on social media. So this is where the meaning of Pain to Power comes from. We got to take this pain and transform it into something powerful. And when I say powerful, I don't mean, you know, toxic positivity. On this podcast and, you know, on some of the other arms of this platform, there's going to be some difficult conversations that are going to be had. It's going to be conversations that you feel uncomfortable with because of traditional mindsets, because of generational mindsets. And that's okay. I've created a space to where it's okay for you to be uncomfortable. It's okay for you to be a little nervous about discussing some of these topics. But what I know from my own lived experience is you cannot start growing as a person. You cannot start growing as a community, and we're definitely not going to grow and evolve across a diaspora if we can't face the truth about history, the truth about who we are, the truth about our families, the truth about who we are individually as a person. We have to be able to not only understand self-awareness, but embrace it. We have to embrace self-awareness. Self-awareness is about truth about you. And that's where shadow work and things like that come in at. And all I'm here to do with this platform is to provide you with information that you can use to find yourself, to find your purpose, and to be able to define it very clearly before you get into moving to your next action or moving to what you're going to say next, move to your next message. That's what Pain to Power is about. It's about finding you. It's about loving you. It's about healing you. Because when you do that individually, you'll start doing that with your family. And when your family starts doing that, the community will start doing it. When the community starts doing it, it starts spreading across the diaspora. So that's what the meaning behind Pain to Power is. What we are looking at as far as platforms and where it's going to be existing at, the actual platform, the central nucleus of Pain to Power is the website. And you can go to the website. I'll make sure it's posted here on the video so you'll be able to see it. But the website is the nucleus to all the other legs to the platform. You can find out more information about us, contact me as the host. There's also a page for services that I personally will be providing if you're needing those services. So you can book different services with me on the website. And then most importantly, listen, there's 2 parts of that website that I am super excited about. And one of the parts of the website is the village. I wanted a place that was away from social media, away from trolls, away from people, in your comments saying crazy stuff. And I wanted an exclusive space for members of Pain to Power to be able to get together and support each other through these healing journeys that you're going through your spiritual journeys. Some people are just on a truth journey, finding the truth about who you are and who we are as a people. This is a resource. The village is a resource for support. So you'll be able to subscribe to the village. And, there's not a possibility of trolls being in the village. I will be going live in the village with the members on difficult topics that I feel like we need to discuss a little more personable. Also, there's courses in there that you can do at your own time that makes you critical think about, different topics around the diaspora. What I tried to do was I tried to find every single divisive topic that keeps us divided. You have the men against women, debates and arguments and disrespect. You have the patriarchy. You have abuse. You have the different people of African descent across the world. Different mindsets about, Black Americans, different mindsets about brothers and sisters that grew up on the homeland in Africa, different mindsets, about brothers and sisters from Haiti or from the Caribbean, you know what I mean? So there's divisiveness across the diaspora. And we'll get into detail about that on, some of the podcast episodes. Also, it's mentioned in several of the ebooks in the Village Library, and then also in the Village. And I'll talk about the Village Library here in a little bit. But what I want you guys to understand is that this divisiveness across the diaspora is not something that was not implemented. It was purposely implemented. And this is what I'm talking about awareness and being self-aware and understanding how the system works. And that's another thing that Pain to Power is going to give to you. It's going to give you the knowledge to understand and the historical concepts of what was done to make sure that we stay divided, what was used to make sure that we stay divided. These things are old, the arguments between, brothers and sisters from the Caribbean and, brothers and sisters that were born and raised in America. Same with, our family that's from the homeland of Africa. This divisiveness, it was put here on purpose to keep us divided. And the question is, why? And I'm going to give you the real history, the real knowledge. I'm also giving you references, books, articles, historical, anthropology, data that you can go and look up yourself. Again, I'm not here. Pain to Power is not here to tell you what to think. We're here to give you the knowledge so that you can go answer those questions yourself. So this divisiveness between us is on purpose. It's on purpose, right? And they're going to continue to create chaos and continue to try to divide and conquer. Number one, because they can't afford for us to unify in one part of the world, let alone all over the world. They can't afford it. We outnumber them 12-1 around the world. And we all know that Western civilization is extremely unpopular right now in this culture, specifically in political culture. And it's not popular. It's going away, as the world shifts. And now is the time for us to change what we are putting energy into. Now is the time for us to mind our own affairs. It's too many times that, Black folks around the world, we have spread our energy out to multiple communities, right? And it's time for us to draw that energy back within our own households, within our own individual selves, and focus on self. And I think that this is going to turn out to be something extremely powerful if we can get enough people to join this silent, private movement. This is a movement that's not going to be publicized. It's a movement that can't be publicized because it's internal. It's internal and it's individual. And when we get men and women across the diaspora healing, moving from one-dimensional thinking to multi-dimensional thinking, whatever their spiritual beliefs on a spiritual journey, and we get many of us focused on us. Stop jumping on trends and responding to these crazy folks saying racist stuff. That stuff is old. It's there for shock value. It's there for you to respond to it and to crash your nervous system. This platform for Pain to Power is built for people that are serious about deconstructing from the system, deconstructing from the matrix. People that are ready to change their life forward. Because once you change your mindset, the whole world opens up to you in a different way. And that's what we're here to do, is to give you that knowledge. So I'm excited once again to be here. I want you guys to check out every episodes. The episodes will be dropping every Friday for the podcast. I do want to tell you where we're going to be at for the podcast. We're going to be on YouTube with the podcast, and we will also be on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So you got 3 platforms where the podcast will be. The nucleus of the website, which is the website, you can get to the Village and the Village Library. The Village Library is absolutely amazing. I have put together so many ebooks about a lot of these difficult topics that keeps us divided, keeps us unhealed, and keeps generational trauma going to the next generation. And, some of these are uncomfortable to read. Some of them, just like some of the podcasts, will be uncomfortable for you to listen to. But these are conversations that need to be had. The time of sweeping things under the rug and just moving forward with status quo and continuing to bleed all over your family, bleed all over your loved ones because you're unhealed is over. It's over. The new thing is healing. The new thing is having a high level of emotional maturity. The new thing is being aware, self-aware. If we had more people that were aware of self, we had more people that were telling themselves the truth about their self, we would be healthier as a community, mentally, emotionally, and physically. So, we're going to cover a lot of topics, from the patriarchy to healing, mental health, the system, politics. We're going to cover every single topic that you and your family may have swept under the rug that nobody wanted to talk about because it was too difficult. But I know that if you're still here, that you're serious about deconstructing from the system and changing your life. Because make no mistake, once you see this knowledge, you can't unsee it. You can't unsee it. You will never be able to go back to the old ways. You will never be able to go back to the older versions of yourself. You will only continue to evolve as a person. And that is what we're looking for with Pain to Power. That's what we're looking for you to take this knowledge and run with it. Do your own research. Like I said, there is a reference guide with books and articles and all type of information for you to go and do more research, right? Then other than what's in the ebooks in the Village Library. What I'm looking for is engagement, authentic engagement. And I've provided the space for it to be exclusive. So we don't have to worry about trolls. All you have to do is show up and with yourself, show up as you are, come as you are, and engage. And we can take this thing to the next level. So that is where we are. So thank you guys for spending time with me. I want you to engage. Once again, Pain to Power podcast. It will be broadcasting on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And then you can go to the nucleus of the platform, which is the website at www.pain222power.com. Again, that's www.pain222power.com. Check out the website. Get into those ebooks at the Village Library. And then most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the Village, become a Pain to Power member, and start really digging into your healing journey and your self journey of awareness. We look forward to engaging with you. Guys, this is going to be something powerful. I am excited to offer it to you. And listen, make sure you start listening right away to episode 2, which is coming up. I'll see you guys next time.